I watched an interview with Mr. Peter on another television who was talking about the things that this president has done and the fact that they could have been done in a more organized way. Some similar policy decision as enshrined in their different manifestos, but it was badly handled by the APC and the Bola Tinubu government. Do you see all the view that the president and his party, APC, are better, or, I mean, Peter Obi is not better than them in terms of how they envision these ideas?
I still hold that view that the president is by far better than anything Peter Obi would have done. And we can go into specifics. What Peter Obi was talking about the president doing that the president mishandled was false subsidy. And Peter Obi was being clever by half, because after he gave that interview, I brought out another interview that he had given. Incidentally, that interview was on Channels, where he told the public that if he was elected as president, false subsidy would go immediately. He said it, immediately. So what did the president do? The president took out fuel subsidy on day one, immediately. So how would he have done it differently from the president? I mean, he was being dishonest, because there is nothing that the president would have done that he would have done. Because he said he was going to remove fuel subsidy immediately, which is what the president did. And if you look at the World Bank, if you look at the IMF, these guys have said that what the president did was right. It brought some pains, but it was a necessary decision. But let's assume that these Bretton Woods institutions, the World Bank and the IMF, maybe they are new colonialists. So let's take them aside. What about Moody's? What about Fitch? In the whole world, Fitch is the #1 ratings agency. And Fitch has upgraded Nigeria to a stable B positive, because they said the reforms by the Bola Tinubu administration are working, especially the removal of fuel subsidy and the flotation of the naira. After they did that was last year. I think that was on December 17th. And then soon afterwards, Moody's followed, and they upgraded Nigeria. Now, you can see that the reforms, especially the removal of fuel subsidy and the flotation of naira, are working. This gentleman met the debt profile for Nigeria for $108 billion. Right now, as I speak to you, our debt is now $94 billion. So $14 billion are reduction in our debt. And it's not just with the federal government. Almost all states have reduced their debt load. Why? Because the federal allocation to the states has increased. In some cases, doubled. In some cases, tripled. So because of the removal of fuel subsidy, we are seeing tangible actions. So I completely disagree with Peter Obi. Peter Obi, as governor of Anambra, is the only governor in the last 26 years that increased poverty in Anambra. The two governors before him did not increase poverty. The governor after him did not increase poverty, but Peter Obi increased poverty. So he does not have the moral authority to talk. And then he said something about, criminality. Look, of all the major presidential candidates in the last election, only one person was indicted by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalism for fraud, and that was Peter Obi in the Pandora Papers, where he was accused of illegally taking money out of Nigeria and putting it in foreign accounts. Recently, in that same interview, he said that he left $150 million and 36 billion naira into the Anambra State coffers. That is actually a lie. This is a man that left 127 billion naira debt. Please, you can fact check me. And if you quantify the debt with the money that he left behind, the debt was more than what he left behind. And even what he left behind, some of it he claimed was in assets. For example, he said that he had invested some of the Anambra State government money in Interfax breweries. And if you go back and look, he invested, I think it was about $12 million. Today, that $12 million investment at Interfax breweries is now worth $5 million. And even the worst part of it is that the money that he said he kept them in his in a bank in which he has substantial shares, about 10% shares. So that means that money was earning interest for that bank, so that money was going into his own pocket. So Peter Obi does not have the moral right to criticize President Bola Tinubu.